Altbays. Altbays. Altbays.
And we're live. Altbays Show brought to you by Altbays.nz. We're here. Now, same camera catching both of us.
You put me on the spot there.
Because they can see both of us.
Oh, you start again. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, shum, ba-doom, boo.
Altbays Show brought to you by
Altbays.nz. We bring ourselves here, don't we?
We do. Thanks for coming. If you are watching us right now, you are on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you are not on YouTube, probably you're listening to us because we are on all the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Prime, iHeartRadio. So thank you so much. You can subscribe to those pages as well. You will find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. The Madhouse. Are you on TikTok already? It's a no. Thanks so much. Show number 179. We're really enjoying doing this. We learn a lot by having these conversations. If you would like to see someone here, send us a message. Or if you would like to come for a chat, let us know. We might call you. You never know. Our media group is also publishing the beautiful Coromando magazine now. This is the 4th issue. We're very happy with the results. We're focusing on educational content. It's a collaborative work. We invite a bunch of cool people from the community and from other parts of the country and the world to write, to bring cool things to you. Of course, we focus on the Coromando, but it is for everyone. And accessibility matters, so we also have an audio version of the magazine, okay? I posted on our Instagram page some of the places where you can find your printed copy. And if you don't get hold of one, you can go on coromando.nz and read the online version. Mr. Roberts creates the puzzles.
Yep, I do. I'm pretty proud of the May puzzle that I've made. I'm looking forward to when that comes out.
What do you think about pride, especially when it comes to yourself? Like, are you proud of the things that you do?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think pride has so many different ways of looking at it, because people can be proud and have pride so that they do things that are negative because it makes them feel strong. I'm stoked with myself and I enjoy it. It's like playing piano. I play a song and I enjoy it. I make a puzzle and I enjoy it. So I don't know if it's pride in that traditional sense. It's probably more just, I am pretty happy to entertain myself. And if other people enjoy that, I'm happy with that too.
You are a good entertainer, must say.
Robitussin.
God, please, no!
Robitussin was like an advert for cough syrup when I was a kid.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. I do need it. I'm feeling good though. Got no bugs or anything at the moment. Mr. Roberts, we're going to have a good chat with two beautiful people here. They are already having fun. Yeah! Woo! Paul Scriven, and Kate, he gave me a look kind of like, yeah, fair enough. Close. That's all right. I'll deal with that. And Kate Misselbrook, hello.
Hello, how you going?
Scriven?
Scriven.
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 So Scriven like driven, not driving.
No.
That's not going to help. Is it Scriven like women? No. It's not going to work either. I'll come up with something.
Thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Do you guys like the space?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's
pretty
much
fresh.
like professional
Profession is good.
than you think it will be.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a backhanded compliment, isn't it? So, wow, it's professional. I never thought you'd be professional. I never got that vibe from you. It's really, really nice compliment. It's really nice to set the scene.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. Thanks so much for supporting the Coromando magazine. Te Moata, big supporter, and we really appreciate. I hope you guys are enjoying the content, the things that we're doing, and we're looking forward to this chat. Mm-hmm. How is your holiday going? Do you guys have holidays, or the dynamics at a retreat center actually don't operate like that? Paul's already, I love it. Paul's already laughing.
We probably should have put that on the list of things not to talk about.
Not getting holidays.
Not getting holidays.
Not getting holidays.
We're at the moment fully working, and we'll get a break in June, July for a couple of months, and a bit of downtime over winter, and then we get another break in December. So that's our break time. But other than that, we.
Are you going to be travelling to Fiji to get some warm weather for the winter, or are you going to go down and ski?
Man, that's the current joke. Take me to the Pacific Island, we say,
Yeah.
just chill on the beach.
Yes.
It is quite nice to be out in the islands. I was in Cook Islands for 2 years, and
Oh yeah.
it's, well, for that island in particular, it's just stunning. Rarotonga is just stunning, and it looks like the pictures online, sort of wherever you go. But you almost feel, though, for me, I'm a weirdo, I always felt like I took a photo going, there's someone out there with a better camera that can take a nicer picture. Just find one on Google.
What
yeah,
did you do there?
Teacher, my first job teaching.
Oh.
Yep, I'm a music teacher. Been a PE teacher. I'm now going to be a drama teacher for a wee while.
What's a PE teacher like? That's always classic.
Oh, it was kind of fun, actually. I got tired and exhausted. I did a workout with my students, and then I was sore for a week and had to go to a chiropractor. Shout out, Grant.
Shout out New Zealand educational system. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
But
that's why you're doing the 6-week challenge?
Yeah.
To see if you can...
He's already got an appointment booked in there.
Yeah, I do, actually. Yeah.
So you're going to learn some skills to teach the kids on your 6-week challenge.
Well, I think generally the 6-week challenge, maybe the kids will see me looking after my body and maybe they'll look after theirs a bit more or be aware of it. or maybe it'll just add to my sense of pride and they'll be proud of me and, you know, just build my ego.
Probably one of the best things you've ever said in this show. Thank you so much. We want to say, before we start, thank you so much to Bay's Pizzeria for bringing us some beautiful kites. Did you guys enjoy that
that's
pizza?
Yeah,
great.
that's good.
That was good.
That was
eh?
real nice.
Mm-hmm.
I had a whole pizza.
There you go. Thank you. Thanks, Henry. Thanks for the whole family always supporting our show. If you are coming to the Coromando, make sure to check them out. And if you live here, Bay's Pizzeria, bays.fitzy on the socials, and we're going to have them on the screen. So make sure to check them out. I'm just going to do this quickly so the audience know who we're talking to. Paul Scriven is the resident manager of Te Moata, a retreat center in the Coromando region, nestled within the bush and lit by solar power. That's cool.
Hold up for the next part. Say it while smiling.
You read.
Oh, okay. Where were you?
Start again.
Scriven.
Scriven.
Paul Scriven is the residential manager of Te Moata, a retreat centre in the Coromandel region, nestled within the bush and lit by solar power. Paul lived in Mount Maunganui for over 20 years, running an Ashtanga Yoga shala, teaching yoga and practising massage therapy. I got a sore back. I'll talk to you soon. With global upheaval in 2020, Paul and his wife Anna hit the road for a lifestyle change, living in a van and then house-sitting on the remote Rangitoto ki te Tonga, D'Urville Island. With the house-sit ending, they took up the challenge to become managers at Te Moata and have been there since March 2022. Kate Misselbrook assists Paul with the day-to-day running of the Te Moata. She produces her own podcast, interviewing teachers and speakers who come to the retreat. She also works towards a predator-free space with a touch of enlightenment. I like that. A touch of enlightenment.
You've got a great voice. You should think about a radio job, eh?
Hey, I keep telling him that, but we don't want to lose him. Paul.
Yeah, true.
Like Altbays is, you know.
I think it's just that, as I said, Lee, I think if you say, because you've got a lovely voice too. Clearly, people like you.
The problem is the English, man. It's not the voice.
I think it's just the smile. Add a smile to it, and everything suddenly gets more engaging because you've got a smile.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I got so many cool things to ask you guys. But one of the things that really caught my attention, I was having a look at the retreats that you guys do, and we're gonna dig. We're gonna go like to all the cool places and talk about all the cool things that you guys do at Te Moata. But I'm curious about the silent retreats. How long does it go for? Like, what is it for everyone? Do you have like people who come looking for that specifically? Like, can you take me through the journey of a silent retreat, please?
What do you want to go for this one?
Sure. I guess it's the tradition of the Buddhist meditation. So, and the silence, sacred silence is kind of part of that tradition. So it allows you to go a lot deeper into your practice when you're not having to come out and communicate with people. So you're just in that silence, and then the whole place is silent. So there's no need for any kind of social interaction. So that whole part of you just sort of falls away. And yeah, it can be a bit daunting to begin with, but you can grow to really love that silence and being around people in silence. It's a really unique thing in our lives because we're so programmed to have that interaction with people, even with eye contact or body language or anything like that. So the silence kind of makes you go more inward, and you can kind of rest, and your energy can build on the inside, and then that energy can be turned into the practice.
Is the idea of being silence, is it mainly like to look after yourself and look within, or you could still communicate and try to establish a connection in different ways? Just by eye contact or just by doing things together?
You're trying to withdraw those connections. So you're trying to withdraw it within yourself and settle within yourself. That's the idea. And that varies over. You can do a short retreat, 6-7 days, or you can go longer, 10, 20 days, or 3 months. And yeah.
Have you tried, Kate?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've tried a few times.
Yes.
Give it a go.
How was the experience? The first one.
The first one. Oh, the first one was a Vipassana, you know, those 10-day ones. They call it the boot camp meditation. Or maybe they don't, I do. Yeah, it's good. I think you don't realise how painful, first of all, sitting on a cushion can be. You know, like, you think, oh, the silence is going to be so hard. Oh, I can't distract myself with reading or writing or talking. But then you actually got to just gotta sit in that kind of pain and then kind of observe how much, your mind is just constantly going. And then just sitting with it, and then sitting with that pain in your knee, and just kind of like realising that it comes and goes, and that kind of relentlessness of life, and it's just all within you, and how much you can create it. You just sit there, and then you look at everyone else looking all peaceful, and you're like, oh my God, they're really awesome, and they're nailing it. And then you break out, and everyone's like, I hated it. Hated moments of it. But you know, it's good. It just makes you stop and actually kind of understand. For me, it's like understanding a bit of life and then also a bit of healing, because you're just going deeper into that core and like kind of shredding layers of yourself or figuring out your patterns.
Do you guys have a mix of older people, younger people coming for retreats?
It is a mix. Mostly sort of, it's, probably more older people. I think a lot of our retreats are just during the year, so a lot of younger people can't catch, carve out a week or 10 days out of their life. And if they do, they're probably not focusing on, So it depends. We get a lot of travellers coming through and stuff. People have a little bit more time to spend on themselves. And
Is there a point for new people that they're coming in there because of specific trauma or specific life changes that have been significant, and they've been putting off anything like this their entire life, and so they finally go, oh, stuff it, I may as well try this. Is that a big population or a big percentage? No details have to be given at this time.
Yeah, I think it varies on the person totally. It depends on what they're looking for. Some people are just looking for time out, away from their phones, or just a time in the bush. And some people are looking to go a little bit deeper with their practice if they've already started cultivating it. It so varies. I think everyone is so different, and the teachers are different too, with their emphasis on what they're teaching and the style and the way they communicate that. It's quite, when we get to sit in with a lot of different teachers, so you get to hear their perception on the practice quite differently. Whereas if you just go to one retreat, then you just get that teacher's interpretation and where they're teaching at that period of their teaching career. When you sit in lots of different teachers, you really get it's a lot of different ways that they can communicate quite similar ideas. It's quite entertaining in that sense.
What are the other retreats that you guys provide at Te Moata?
We have a women's gathering, which is a bit more vibrant, I guess you could say. And then we also have permaculture, dances of universal peace.
Sorry, rewind. What? What's that final sentence? Dances of Universal Peace?
Oh, wow. Yes, so that's like dances from like kind of sacred dances from different cultures. Mm-hmm. And sadly it did get cancelled this year, so I've actually never partaked in one, so I don't want to dive too much into it because I could.
So next year,
cool, though.
Next year, I could go on a retreat.
Yeah, and then it's quite.
I would learn dances.
Yeah, and we'd dance in circles, and it's quite like maybe eye contact, and then you dance in circles.
That's a bit too intimate.
Yeah, I can see you kind of like.
Silence your name, Mr. Roberts. You're more for a silent retreat.
We'll find a retreat for you.
Yeah, thank you.
What else have we got going on? There's an ecotherapy one that comes in. We have one that is from, what is Bhavna's and Pat one called?
The Divine Feminine.
The Divine Feminine.
Yeah.
Labyrinth, because we have a labyrinth there. So
Not David Bowie's Labyrinth.
No.
cool that be?
That was so great. Just stare at pictures of him all day. Why those pants, David? Why those pants? They're so tight.
I love the idea of retreats, but every time that I look at what they provide, I think, why are we not doing this earlier in life? Why are we not putting a lot of those practices into practical, like for kids, you know, like why are we not preparing ourselves to get to a stage where we can go ourselves and find those places? You know, it's beautiful to have guidance. It's all about finding the older people who can teach you. But how far are we from a society or from community spaces where we could implement more to our lives? I guess you traveled quite a bit, Paul. Like have you done that observation from places you've been to?
I guess the culture here doesn't hold that. If you go through Asia and stuff, it's much more steeped in the, you know, there's a whole paradigm that it sits in that goes back a long way. So here, I guess it's since I started meditating, it's come a long way. It's become much more popular. But yeah, coming into schools and stuff, I think we're still a little while away. But you know, maybe things can change quite quick.
How was the start for you? How was your journey with meditation?
It was great. Well, I started in Thailand when I was just backpacking around. So I had an interest in things, Eastern philosophy and consciousness, and just trying to understand the world, you know, in a different way, and wondering why things were the way they were, and trying to get my head straight, really, trying to work it out. And the East seemed to have quite a few interesting answers to that. So going there and being in that culture, and then going on meditation retreats was hugely pivotal in my 20s. And then coming back and then finding a place like Te Moata that had actually existed here, you know, because I grew up and didn't know places like that even, you know, were in the West or anything. So so I came, the first time I came, I think was about 95. So I was pretty young, and the original owner was there, and it was a magical place, and it's a beautiful. You've been, eh? So it's a beautiful place. Like you go there, you just fall in love with the place. So, aesthetically alone, it's, you know, it's very conducive to meditation and stillness and dropping into that sort of zone. So, yeah.
Would you give it a go, Mr. Roberts?
Yep.
A retreat?
Yeah, very, very much so. I've been keen for a long time. I think the idea of a silent retreat would, to me, be horrible, because I would much prefer to have 10 days alone in a room with a piano and just see what I can come up with find out what I would do if I just had all the space and time. I'd love to know what I could do with it. To be sitting there silent, I love music, and I'd be sitting there listening to my heartbeat in my ears, and it'd just drive me insane. It'd drive me insane. And I'd have to go, yes, I'll come in and have awareness. Yes, I'm now aware of my heart. How much can I become aware of this? How about I push that noise away and focus on my breathing? And I know bloody pulse is going to come back in my ears, and I'm going to hear the blood flowing through them, because I can, and it's awful. I'm going to go insane. That basically is what I'm meaning. I'm definitely keen. I'd give it a full 10, 12 days to give it time to really get past the shitty days. But I'd just be missing a piano and my family, in that order. No take-backs.
When people talk about meditation, there's this thing of like, oh, you got to stop your thoughts, stop thinking. Is that even possible? Or is just like channeling, is paying attention? Like how, for the people, because I see there's a difference between mindfulness and the process of sitting and meditating, right? They are different. Are they in this? Do they sit in the same? Are they the same concept?
Pretty much the same concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, is like, because there are courses, there are guides, there are people who are actually guiding you through. So techniques, is there what we would learn
Yep.
if we're going on a meditation
Generally,
course?
the teacher will teach you techniques of how to just pay attention to what's taking place, and where to direct your attention, and how to sit comfortably, and then how to skillfully kind of manage the obstacles that kind of come up for you, which they do. So a skillful teacher will be able to guide you through that practice and take you on a bit of a journey over those 10 days through your mind, through your body, through your experiences. It has a long history.
From someone who's never done it, it seems to me that I've always imagined meditation to be something I want to do before I go to sleep. And yet I think, from speaking to Mark Troop way back in the day and listening to a lot of talks in that time, it's active meditation, is it? You are actively at your most alert hours focused on your active brain and what it's functioning and doing. It's not something, I'm going to meditate half an hour before going to bed so I'll have a better night's sleep.
Yeah.
It's not that, is it?
No.
Bugger.
But it can be. It can be anything you want it to be.
Is there a goal when you're meditating? Do you set a goal, or the idea is to detach from anything that comes as a reward? How does that part work? Because humans work like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what am I gonna get out of this?
But we're so time oriented. You sit down and you sit on the cushion. You're like, cool. Oh, cool. I've ticked off meditation, but nothing changes. Like when you're on it or off it, you're still just being. It's just how much are you aware of your being?
So I jumped out of an airplane and I sort of zoned out. So did I really jump out of an airplane if I was the same person as I am now? Damn it. So state of mind has a lot to do with it.
State of mind? Does it? I think it's just like your awareness of not like observing. It's not like you're reacting. It's just like that. And then this is just thoughts, and then this body and like sensations and just being. Like meditation is just another form of an attempt of being. But we're already being. Basically, it's a paradox.
So if you finish your 8 hours, 10 hours a day, if you finish your 8 hours of active, is there a set of time during the day that does have is it 4 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 10, 12 hours a day, a general length of time that there is?
I think all courses are different. So.
Because I mean, do you get back and you finish your workout, and then
Your mind workout.
and then do you go through like your highlights of your day? Oh, I remember when that thought came up. That was a weird one. Like, do you go back and can you?
But then you'd be like, oh, I'm in my past sense now. Come back to the breath, or come back.
Oh, but I mean, like at the end of it, can you go like, that was a great experience. I went and did this happen, then I overcame by doing this. Can you retrospectively go back and analyze your experience of that day, or is it simply I'm done now?
That would be so boring, though, eh?
Well, I don't know. If I'm active, maybe it'd be fascinating. What insane thoughts would come up in my head might be interesting to me later on.
Yeah. I mean, personally, for me, it's to get away from the thoughts because they're just everywhere, eh? It's just like blah, blah, blah. So to go behind the thoughts.
Paul, I'm picking their brains. Yeah, I'm learning as well.
Yeah, it's hard to explain unless you've done it.
Well, that's
really,
a good answer.
I think, to be honest. And we're not meditation teachers, to be fair, as well.
true.
But you practice them, right?
We've practiced, but to give these, it's a very hard thing to define what it is and what you'll experience. Like everyone who goes will experience something different, totally. And as you go, like if you do 2 or 3 retreats, it'll change. It'll be a different, you do your third 10 day is different to your 10th 10 day. It's constantly evolving in terms of the territory that you're kind of uncovering within your mind.
Do you tap into any fasting techniques during that? Do you do any fasting periods?
Different schools do, like in the Vipassana Goenka style that Kate was talking about before. You're only eating, or you used to anyway, up till like midday. So if you've already done one, then the ones after that, you are basically, it's kind of goes back to the sort of monastic lineage where they only eat before midday. So, and then after that, you're not eating, and then so that you're not really moving around as well. So you're not, the energy you're consuming. So you want a kind of light, clean diet. You don't want to be, you notice when you eat too much food, you're just like sitting, dropping off to sleep because you just get all foggy in your head. So you want to minimize that because you see the effect that, anything has over you. You're so sensitive to the environment.
And we have like this French chef who cooks really good meals. So at lunchtime, it's like good meals, but you're like, oh, maybe if people have to go back and sit, and it's like lentils, beautifully cooked lentils.
So there's a lot of discipline involved. There's I think sometimes we have an idea that is like, oh, I'm going to relax, but it's actually, you're practicing a lot of the discipline as well, right?
I think that's part of the paradox is that, that Kate said before, is that there's that doing, but you're also trying to relax. Like you can't do it with any kind of strain or any kind of goal or achieving kind of mind. So you're trying to relax, which is kind of paradoxical in itself. It's like the harder you try to relax, the less you actually relax. So learning how to rest into that place is an art form in itself. To let go of any kind of striving. Because we're all human. We all kind of want to go from point A to point B, and if you're already there, it's a bit of a head mind game. Like to keep affirming that to yourself that there is nowhere else to go. You're already there, but you've been fully conditioned to. I need to be better. I need to be smarter or more enlightened or more spiritual or whatever it is. So, dropping that's part of the practice.
Can I just, because I'm white male, middle class, and I love the capitalist society we live in. What is the qualification and who dishes out the master of meditation? How do you become a teacher? What specs do you have to have on your CV?
I think the traditionally, it's pretty much you had to put in the hours, the days, the months, the years. And then your teacher would have said, can you cover that course or to teach this? And traditionally, it's in a monastic environment as well. So it's very hierarchical, So, but yeah, I don't know the current system. A lot of the teachers that come through to Te Moata have been teaching for 30 plus years.
They could have just been winging it and making it all up.
Yeah, but you can sniff that pretty quick.
Yeah?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, cool.
Well, it's like you're a PE teacher,
Yeah, man, I was a total PE teacher.
Yeah.
Thanks, Taylor.
Well, it's funny that you brought up capitalism.
Oh, go on. I know you love it. The topic.
Well, I from what I see, a lot of wealthy people, as they get older, a lot of them start to detach from things, So what I'm trying to do in my life is trying to understand that the earlier that I can, so I don't deceive myself, so I don't trick myself into thinking that the things around me are the things that are going to bring happiness to me. So I really appreciate spaces that provide that kind of teachings, because we have endless conversations about, capitalism or any other systems that we've had or that we used to have in the world. Different countries operate in different ways. But it seems to me that like the material world, it's a bit of a trap, and some you can learn techniques to let that go, and I like the idea of the retreats. I like the idea of meditation, yoga as well, right? Mm-hmm. Like you work on your body, on your mind at the same time, and you realize that it's all here, it's all part of you, it's within. Everything that is external, it won't actually bring too much happiness for you guys. I'm just curious about your experiences, like in the past, if you had moments that you were not tapping at all into a more spiritual, a more internal lifestyle, like for yourselves, like more personal experiences, or if it was something that came from the family, you guys were already inserted in this mindset, this lifestyle. If you don't mind sharing a little bit of your story, both of you. Because I know yours.
That's a really long question.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Keep active listening.
It's a chat. It's a conversation. So I'm telling a little bit of my experience, the way that I see things.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to unpack how you guys got into this lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, me personally, I definitely didn't get there through family or through culture. It's probably more the going against that took me there. And the dissatisfaction with society and dissatisfaction with the way that our culture is. And
You said that you went Southeast Asia in early 20s, right?
Yep.
So you were a teenager dissatisfied with, was it school or
Yep.
like trying to get jobs? Like what was the things that you noticed that were the most just frustrating or repetitive?
I guess that there just seemed to be a complete dissatisfaction with reality as it was, the way the world was set up and the processes that I was becoming, like growing into. People didn't seem happy. They didn't seem satisfied. They didn't seem like they had kind of contained any magic. It was just, they were just, going through the motions. People seemed in conflict, just all that stuff. All the institutions didn't seem to function. School wasn't a great place, it was great for maybe some percentage, but there was a huge majority of people at school that just hated the place. And, I went to an all-boys school. There was massive fights and, it was just like all that stuff going down. I guess for me personally, I just had this sort of dream that surely the world can be a better place. There's something more than this dogfight of a life. I can't say that I found it, but
Were you right? Were you right?
was I right that it's a shit show?
Were you right that there must be something more? You travel to Southeast Asia, shit, they're fighting too, and
Yeah, totally. Oh, yeah, golly. And then I hung out in lots of monasteries. I did the whole monastic thing for a while, and that was the same. And, after a while, you realize that the human experience runs through everything. So yeah, you just got to go to your little corner and spread what goodness you can, the best that you can. And part of what Te Moata is for us is holding a bit of space, a chunk of land, with a vision of where people can come and can kind of be and connect to that part of themselves where they're away from all of that stuff. And then hopefully they take that back into the world, and then their relationships are altered. Even this 1% altered just spreads into society. And yeah, that's, what more can you do really at the end of the day? I don't know. I haven't figured it out.
I'm sold. Kate, follow that up.
Whew.
Take us back to your teenage years, if that's where it takes us.
Yeah, I'm probably the same as Paul. Didn't step in to whatever I do now. And I wouldn't say spiritually, I've not done 20 years of Ashtanga or anything. But I travelled and I drank my way around the world, and then I realised that wouldn't be able to last. And so I basically have always had the predicament of, same with Paul, not kind of happy how to live in this world sometimes and what we've created, and then the passions and always having to have this purpose and be something, and then get on this conveyor belt, but the conveyor belt, you can't keep up with the happiness or the state of emotion because internally something's not quite connected, and I don't feel quite whole, and also I don't feel like I can appreciate nature quite on that wheel of whatever life is. So anyway, struggle for me a little bit, but also fun times while struggling. And then I just there was a point where I was just over trying to figure out anything, and I came to Te Moata as a woofer, which is actually special.
Sorry, as a
woofer. So, what do you think? What do you reckon it is?
What is it?
a woman of folklore? No.
How cool is that?
Oh shit! I
You're
hate
close.
those buttons. A woman of freedom, of faith, of flatulence. I don't know. What do you got?
Willing.
Willing. I don't even know what it is. Willing worldwide
Willing workers. I think.
willing workers organization, organic farms. Basically, it's someone who will
There you
work.
go. There you go. There you go. Yeah,
We got about 5 W's, 3 O's.
It is 2 W's though, right?
Yeah.
It is 2 W's. But the premise is you work for accommodation and food, and in the meantime. So that's kind of what we offer at Te Moata too. Like, there'll be woofers who are kind of working in between retreats, and then servers who work on retreat. So then I just kicked there, and then it was just so nice to like land and settle and slowly just like come back to, I think, everything. Like, you know, just slow it down. There's nothing to chase. There's nowhere to run. There's no more country to see. There's nothing. You're done. You're tired. You're over it. And so Te Moata is perfect. And you see people come all the time, maybe for 6 weeks. They come in, and it's just a place where people can ground again and then just be like, okay, reset and come back, even just if you're working on the land. And that's where I think it's such a special place to me, to have that place where people can just come to and like regroup. And then there's community, and like there's nature, and there's service, like, which is an act of love. You get to just do that simplistic thing, and then you can be like, cool, let me try this world again.
There's service. I honestly thought you meant cell phone coverage when you said that. And I literally went,
What an
as
act
soon
of
as you said
love.
that, I thought, shit, you're telling kids to come out there and nature and be grounded and have service. And I'm like, that actually might sell it for them. Yeah. I shouldn't have explained it. If there's a clip there, cut it before I interjected. Can you do that?
20 years as a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of time. It's a lifetime. It's a
You look
great
fit.
time.
Not as fit as I was.
I saw a picture on your Instagram from I think it was I don't know what part of the body it was, of a 70-year-old man who is active, and you can see the muscles and like this beautiful representation, and then a 74-year-old man, all like clearly not that active, and how our bodies respond to exercising. Was it something that always made sense to you? Or you had to
I
experience
just
yourself?
enjoyed, like, even as a kid, playing sports and, you know, being in my body and stuff like that. And then I did a lot of the meditation, which is just sitting a lot in my 20s. But I was typical Kiwi kid, so I was super stiff, and, you know, I would sit with my knees up around my ears and back pain, and it was a horrible experience. So someone said to me, you should do some yoga, you know, to open your body a little bit, to sit easier. And it just kind of grew from there. Not, to be honest, I did a little bit of yoga sporadically, bits and pieces. And then when I found Ashtanga, then my body actually started to change. Before that, I was just up against nothing really happened to my body. It doesn't matter. The other techniques didn't really work for me. So Ashtanga was the key that really helped me to unlock my body a little bit, and it was a great journey. I was very lucky in many ways.
So how did you find that? Who was the teacher? Where was the school, or how did you get into Ashtanga?
There was no teacher in where I was living, and I was teaching a different style of yoga. And then I found an old VHS tape of Richard Freeman, who's a very famous yoga teacher, and he was doing this insane yoga practice that I'd never seen anything like it. And so I asked around, and then a friend of mine who had another friend who practiced Ashtanga with this guy Peter, which turns out to be Peter Sanson, and he lived in Gisborne at that time and travelled the world teaching. And so through word of mouth, I basically rocked up to one of his Christmas retreats and did 4 days with him there, and then I had to go back to work, and then I did basically just went down and did, like, he did a summer season in New Zealand at that time, and taught in Wellington. I think he still does, in Hamilton and Auckland, and I just went from in between work and went down and did these things. And then I said to him, I'm loving this, what can I do? And he said, go to India. And so I went to India, and then he rocked up there, and we hung out, and I met Bill, who you were talking about before, and And then I organised Pete a workshop back in Mount Maunganui, and then he said, "Give me a hand," and then we basically sort of hung out together for like 4 years. So it was a traditional kind of apprenticeship, hands-on thing. So I was very, very fortunate, and Pete he's a very kind, nice, genuine teacher. So yeah.
I want to ask about the thing with flexibility and strength.
Yes.
Because I feel like there's a bit of a misconception there.
100%.
But just before we do that, for the people watching us live right now, we have a pizza giveaway brought to you by Bay's Pizzeria. So So the first person who types yoga and pizza on our YouTube chat takes a pizza home. Easy like that. Yoga and pizza, because it's all about balance.
Can they use
right?
the symbol? Can they have to type A and D, or can you use the symbol for speeding it up?
A and D.
A and D, okay. And
Yoga and pizza. Taylor will take the sign if someone writes it down. There you go.
2 Zs.
When I started practicing yoga, I had this idea of flexibility. I'm a drummer.
Yep.
And I wanted to strengthen my shoulders, because I kind of I opened them in a weird way that is not ideal. And then I realized it was because probably of practice, of different ways that I learned how to play. And I was lucky to have Stephanie Anderson, who runs Yoga Fitianga here, and she helped me a lot, and she explained to me how it's about strength. Why do we have this misconception, and what happens to our body when we're practicing yoga that actually supports strength? Because I think a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going to be flexible. But there's something else. There's more, right?
100% more. Yeah. It's one of the huge misconceptions about yoga, and is that it's all about flexibility, and then somehow flexibility and spirituality become synonymous. And so, and we saw that a lot through, the 2000s, and had all these super teachers of the world who were super flexible, and you get their accolades from the flexibility, but that doesn't really help anyone. It doesn't take you long to figure out that it doesn't matter how flexible you are. It doesn't relate in any way to your happiness, but strength definitely does. If you are strong, well, yeah,
I'm strapped in.
yeah. So if you're strong through a range of movement, say, then it's just a reading of how much health that joint is. Not your range of movement so much, unless you've got some kind of limited range of movement. But if you've got an average range of movement, but if you've got strength through that range, you're less likely to injure yourself, and and it's just it's an indication of a healthy joint. So I used to teach above a CrossFit gym, going back to CrossFit, and I just used to take them to full range, so like a full hamstring stretch, and then make them work at that full range. And they used to shake and it would be just like, it'd be kind of comical to me, because that's kind of where yogis kind of hang out, at end range a lot. Through the mid-range, they were strong as hell, like unbelievable. But then sometimes you get them to an end range and they'd lose all their strength. So it was a really interesting learning curve for me, that it was just like, oh, okay, this is what we do all the time. And, yogis are built totally different. And yet these guys here are like, their nervous system is absolutely freaking out at full range. So I started to pivot my teaching from end range. And so it's like you said before, it's about a balance. It's like getting the range of movement and strong through that range of movement. So, you're less likely to injure a joint through the mid-range. But when you get to the end range, if you can get strength there, then, the joint is in a more healthier position. It's going to be stronger, and you're less likely to tear something, or, something like that.
So if you get more strength, will you be more flexible?
100%. So then that's the trick, is that a joint, if you've got control of that movement, then at that end range, if you've got the body goes, oh, I've got this, and then it can release more into that position. Whereas if you're hanging on a joint and you're just pure flexibility, then you're it's like the joint's going to hold back, the muscles are going to contract. So you're trying to get more flexible, because that's what people think is the ideal of yoga, but it's you won't. You'll just hang on joints and then you stretch tissue. And
So
it's
in
horrible.
about 2 months, are you going to run a 6-week yoga challenge? In 2 months?
I'm
to do a
too busy
6-week
for that.
Bugger.
Sorry.
Would you switch courses?
No, I do one, test it out, do the next, test it out.
for sure.
Find the difference. I suppose any movement is better than sedentary.
Yeah.
I do a lot of sitting.
There you
I'm a
go.
great sitter.
Which is a killer, right? Sitting can be a bit of a...
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Balance.
Any movement, if you stood all day, that would be hard. If you ran all day, if you were in any position for long periods of time, it's not. We're meant to move around and climb trees and squat. We're meant to squat. Like you go to Asia and you see people squatting for hours. They're either working kitchen or like playing cards or anything. They'll be in a bottom squat. You ask Westerners to bottom squat and it's just like, oh my God, it's going to take them like 10 years.
Some of my most haunting memories are in a squat position in Asia.
There you go.
Central China. There are no dividers between any of those bathrooms, between any of those holes. There's 16 people in a room and I was sick. I lost 11 kilos. Good chat.
Yep. Nice to know.
Good to have a good squat. I think I'd rip my pants actually if I gave it a go.
Shush.
I think yoga... Okay, I'll give it a go. Guide me. Knees shoulder width apart.
Yeah.
You're going to do it live.
Yeah.
Great.
No one can see me, that's fine.
You're going to
You're
squat.
on the other camera, right? Okay, so shoulders there, butt goes back.
Does it any way you like.
All right.
Try and get to the bottom, keep your heels on the ground.
Keeping your heels.
The
That's
heels
the
on the
hard-
bottom.
Oh my God,
That's
I'm
the
dying.
hardest one.
I feel like dying.
There you go.
Now
Now
how
stay
long-
there for 10 minutes.
Now play a game of poker.
10 minutes, Paul.
Yeah, there's a guy called Ido
My elbows allowed
Portal
to be on my
who's
knees.
Israeli
Huh?
movement specialist, and he has a squat program like that, and it's amazing.
Breathe.
What should I do with my elbows? And can I rest on my knees?
Yeah, try and pull your knees apart as wide as you can.
That's
got
quite
lower.
impressive.
Just act, got lower. There you go.
Much lower.
Okay, now put your elbows in front of you, inside your knees, and squeeze your knees into your elbows, but don't let them move. Squeeze and then release, and then go deeper. Whoa!
Yeah, it
See?
worked.
It's a
I have
miracle.
not ripped my pants.
There you go.
Well, I think that experiment's done.
Yep.
Help me up.
Jesus.
Oh.
See, it's not bad, eh?
Yep. Oh, I'm going to feel that later.
So even the public toilets, I remember that
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Japan, of like all being on the ground for a reason, right?
Yeah.
We're losing a lot of that. Well, actually, in the Western culture, we never learned. It's not that we're losing it. We just never learned.
Yeah.
And then if you try to implement something, people will think you're crazy.
Yeah, imagine if you took away all toilets that you sit on. Imagine. It would be chaos. It'd be anarchy.
Well, if you did it, if you did it overnight, all of a sudden everyone wakes up tomorrow. All the toilets are gone. It'd be madness. All the kids would have to pee in the garden.
Yeah.
Adults too.
Great.
All the hot water beach spades will be sold out real quick.
Cool. A bit of a cool segue there. Speaking of nature, speaking of peeing in the garden. So, Kate, you do some work with predators. Did I say it right? Predators.
It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
True.
It's a great one.
You chase them, and then. So, what are the problems that we deal with in the Coromando when it comes to
Well, I think,
predators?
well, obviously we're under regeneration from just the deforestation. So we don't have those big trees, so we don't get those seeds for like the kereru, and the kereru kind of shows like the most healthiest kind of forest, bush, ngaheri. And so for us, we have like 316 hectares of
44.
Even more.
340. I'm sorry, you can't swear probably on this.
No, you can. You can.
Oh, you can.
Oh, sweet.
Go to town.
344 hectares of bush, and like the bird noises, like average, like a suburb in Corey and Wellington would have better bird noise than like the bush we have, sadly. Just because we've got so many possums, rats and stoats, probably feral cats and hedgehogs. And then it's just like that, without the birds helping the trees and the trees helping the birds, it's like it's just going to take ages before I think it will ever come back to a place of true nature, if I can say that word. I'm not sure if I should say that word. But like, yes, like you should hear bird noise. We should have birds in a bush that big, and it's not there.
For those of you listening on the audio-based platforms, Kate is striking the table like a ninja on steroids. And the absolute
That's why
passion.
the birds are escaping.
Yeah,
The birds are like,
passion. You know, she wants those seeds to fall on the
I
ground
want
and
them
feed the
full.
kiddo.
And I want them to be faster growing, but they're not. And also, it's quite like it's such a good way to get out in the bush, because you know sometimes walking in the bush is like I'm just going to walk in the bush, especially if you know the bush and the paths. But also to have like little projects like that, it's cool. And there's like kind of no, like there's so many different ways you can trap. It's like science experiments. Do I put a Fijo in the shape of an egg? Will that get a rat? Will they even get a stoat if it's really hungry? Who knows? Let's try it. You know, and just get quite creative on how you can kill, even though.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a really great topic. You are a passionate murderer.
I wanted to ask about that because we have different people coming here with different perspectives on different subjects, and that one is one that comes up quite often. I understand bringing native bush back, I think, but like humans implemented a lot of the pests that we have around here.
Humans are the biggest pest.
I know, right? And then we go and we kill again, and then we remove again, we interfere again in an ecosystem that it's operating in its way because we did it before. How do we find that balance? Because like not many people could give a great answer. I think it comes down to investments, because some countries have better programs that you actually stop animals from reproducing. And New Zealand doesn't seem to be that keen on that, from what I understand, from what I heard. But then you still have to go and do something about that thing, right? It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Annalena and I travelled in the South Island a lot, and we'd go through different areas in the bush, and you'd so notice the difference between an area that had been trapped extensively and then areas that weren't. And the bird life was unbelievably different. So we came back from there completely passionate about that. This, even if you are really just spinning your wheels a little bit, and you know they're going to keep breeding from somewhere and they're going to keep coming, if you can kind of just sort of section off an area and keep the numbers down low enough, the bird life will come back. And then for a short period of time, then you know, and the birds, when the birds sing, it's, you know, it's magic for people to hear that. And so, you know, Kate does a ton of work, and we're implementing a huge program at Te Moata, looking forward like a 10-year vision to really push the predators back and try to create a little haven. We've got kiwi across the road coming in. We've got, you know, and then to let the trees grow more fruit, more birds, and try to protect them so they can hang out more. I don't know, what else can you do really?
What are the techniques, Kate, for the people who have no clue how the trapping system is? How does it work?
Well, I'm definitely no Cam Speedy, but what are the techniques? I think, one, it's like, I think it's like you got to know the creature a little bit for sure, like observe and like be really aware of when maybe a trap's getting hit, all the times you want to keep going for it, because maybe in 3 days you'll be able to get it must be a better word for kill, eh? You may get a rat every 3 times.
You may
in
have
a
success.
You may have success. It does sound good. Yeah, and then it's like with possums, it's like they're like fruit, but it's all about changing it. And then I think right now we've got a Trap NZ, which is a really cool app to log your data, and then you'll be able to figure out like what ones are really killing, what bait works, should you be changing your trap. Then you've also got like the idea of poison. So should you be poisoning like in hits every year? And then say if a rat eats the poison, then a stoat eats a rat, then that stoat's going to get killed by that rat because it's secondary poison. You can
Poor rat dying in 2 ways. Like it's suffered in pain. It wanted a quick death. Actually, it's very nice of the stoat to come along, put it out of its misery. Sorry, it's so cruel and horrible when you consider from the case by case, from the perspective of stoat.
A stoat
it was
like
not its own fault. It's here and it's gone, look, It's basically like if you arrive in a country, I don't know, imagine you're a colonist and you're also going, this is amazing, I can definitely work with this and make some cool shit happen. A stoat's come here going, wow, I can eat every one of these birds' eggs. I am the world's best killer right now. They probably feel great about themselves because they're doing their job really well.
Yeah, and they're awesome at it. Yeah. It is a harsh life for them to have been put on a paradise and now
punished for it.
Punished.
I feel like we moved on to religion there.
Are you guys religious? No. Kate?
Always. No.
Oh, no. There's an interesting connection there with spirituality, what someone will experience at a high level of faith, whatever, because it can really take someone to a state of grace. I would say I always mention beautiful music that I love. And then I start to research a little bit, and then I find out, the musician was experiencing a moment that he was into religion. And it happened a couple of times, actually more, that I was surprised. I was like, wow, I didn't know that person was religious for this amount of time. And then it connects us to some sort of spirituality, but then there's a human element there that sometimes gets in the way of greed and trying to manipulate. Is it a topic that you want to...
I'm always happy to talk about egos. It's great.
About egos.
I think the idea of being spiritual does not mean being religious, but for a long time the words seem to be synonymous. People, you're spiritual. So you think of a higher power. I suppose in terms of what you're seeking is finding yourself, and that being a spiritual experience, being more meaningful than the human interaction because it's above and beyond what you normally get. Is that somewhere in the right ballpark? No. So you're not spiritual, and you if you're stretching in yoga and you're meditating for 10 days, you're not thanking Allah or Thor or anyone in that ilk. It's more that you're in a space where you're spiritually experiencing the world out of the normal way that humans do it, outside of meditating. Where do you find the word spiritualism and what you would do? Is it
I probably wouldn't
bird?
use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't use it.
Oh, nice.
In the sense, I'd probably go and sit under a tree and probably think that was spiritual. But it's obviously not. It's just a tree, and communing with nature is probably, it's more of an authentic thing than putting on some lycra and rolling out a piece of rubber and making a shape with your body and then saying, I'm feeling spiritual. That's kind of, I don't know.
You painted that so well, I totally pictured you wearing it.
Oh, yeah.
Your butt looked great.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, Kate, would you use the word spiritual? Have you had moments where you've gone, this was so surreal?
Surreal, spiritual. Can you
I can't define it because I'm not going to use the religious one.
No, I don't think. Like for me, I think it's about grounding. That's like what I enjoy, like being fully in the body, fully on the, like feeling the ground.
And you're not applying anything else to it. It's just you.
Yeah, I guess so. In moments, and then other times I'm scattered as. But I don't really like spirituality. Can be so many things, to each individual, I guess. Whatever makes your soul tick, I guess, and your ego. Go fuck you. I'm trying.
Boom. Yeah, man.
I don't know how I got thrown into just suddenly someone's abusing me.
No, I mean just the ego. I mean the ego in the South. Do you know what I mean? Because it's that
you were
battle.
simply looking at me as you said it
Sorry,
to
a
separate. Yeah.
No, sorry, I meant soul-biz ego.
Yeah. It was an internal dialogue you had there while looking at me. It's good. It's good. So, are you relieved that spirituality was not brought into it, or do you find the experience to be spiritual when you consider practices?
My family is religious. I grew up with in a religious space where we were told to go to the church, not in the main way, but it was just what we were doing. And I rebelled against that. And now I understand that the more you tell people to not do something, you're telling them to go and do that. You know, don't touch it, it's hot. And then you're touching it, it's hot. And you find out. So I was going to the church, I was playing music there, so it was a great way to get introduced to music and all that stuff. But then I started to repel against it. I was making fun of people who were religious, and I was like mocking them. And then I realized that I was also doing a disservice by doing that. Because most of the time, in my view, a lot of the people, they are victims of a bad upbringing, or they didn't have the conditions that a social service should give to people to have a normal life. We should have access to basic things, and we don't. So if someone hook you up with a religious, you know, doctrine or whatever, and that makes you feel good, then it's good, but it doesn't mean that the way that they guided you, it is the best way. So I started to criticizing that much, you know, the people. I realized that there is just an organization most of the time that is doing bad, but the people who are following that, you know, they're just doing the thing. They're just trying to better their lives. They're just trying to live a better life.
It's interesting you brought up the idea of coming together for the religious thing, because human connection is so important. Kids are all on their phones. There's no parties anymore. Party venue hire's gone way down. People aren't having more events. Participation in sports gone down. And everyone's like, we need to get back to being in the same room as humans. Your literal practices, yeah, that's great. But at the same time, get out of the room with all the other humans and learn yourself better. So is there a goal, like at the end of a retreat, is there something like, cool, now go out in the world and see if it changed you, or see if you notice anything, and come back next time? Is there like, I know there's no goal for the individual, but say, is there like a guide, like you should now consider X, Y, and Z as you leave us? Was there anything from that, as you're aware?
No.
It sounds quite culty.
Yeah, it does. Bit scary. No, I think it's so individualistic. You know, like everyone's going to experience it so totally different. You can be sitting beside someone the whole time and they're going to be experiencing like a completely different reality to you. So they'll come out at the end with their own, you know, altered state, whatever that is, and they'll try to reintegrate that into their daily life. And that's one of the hardest things of the retreat, is when you come off that retreat, you come off that sort of sacred space, sacred silence, and then you try to reintegrate back into life, because life hasn't really changed, but you can be very altered over that period of time, your relationship to yourself and the way that you think, and your relationship to the world, and then try to sort of figure out how that fits into the world. And it can be quite a horrible experience, because it kind of crashes down. You know, you can lose that what felt like ground quite quickly. It's a bit like your 6-week thing. It's like at the end of your 6 weeks, you could be feeling fit and strong, right? And then you just like go and prop up your Burger King shares, and then a week later, you're just like, oh man, you know, it's all bad. So it's hard to carry that momentum, you know, over, especially something that requires, like we're creating a space there that it's so the antithesis of how we live our lives. You know, we live our lives with so much distraction. We thrive on that, and interaction, you know, constant. Whereas we're trying to create the space where it's just soft, silent, gentle. You know, people move slowly. You know, from the outside, it looks kind of culty. We come down when we're working and everyone's just like, step. You know, they're really like in their body and they've slowed right down. And it looks like a bunch of zombies walking around. But we've done it, so we kind of know that when you're in that zone, and it's just like, wow, it's you know, it's such a chilled out space. And it's so good for the nervous system just to deload like that. And then you've got to try and figure out how can I maintain that in daily life. There's no set rules around how that goes out.
I think about that often, because when we go back in history, humans had a necessity like to be under stress, because you were fighting for your life, right? So that reaction, that boost of energy, and that like use everything that you can from your body was a necessity in some cases. But I guess when you were not in that stage, you were probably just trying to keep it cool, because you would never know when you would find food again. So probably it was better to slow it down and eat as much as you could when you could, and then just walk and focus on things around you. That's why I guess indigenous people are so connected with nature, right?
Yeah.
There's a sense there. So this is something that really fascinates me, the conversation with people who like to keep their bodies into like stress, you know, like in going hard. It doesn't matter if it's exercising or the practice. And I always question myself. I don't question the people, but I always think, do we need to do that? Like what's the purpose? You know, like are we fighting something internal that is telling us to be always constant, you know, like getting everything that we can out of our bodies? Or is it a human necessity, like to feel good because I'm growing, because I'm getting stronger, you know, like, because most of the practice that bring peace to us, they teach us to keep still and quiet, you know, and I pay attention to that, especially nowadays when it's like, oh, more, you know, be more, do more, bigger, louder. And I wonder, why does it sell more? Does it take us to what's the thing?
Well, it's probably coming from a place of lack. You know, people don't feel good enough as they are, so they've got to get more. They've got to get more money. They've got to get more, you know, things. They've got to get more, bigger, fitter, you know, stronger, better looking, whatever it is. It's you're building it upon that sandcastle. So, you know, when you go, if you think about the past, if you were that tribesman and you went into the forest, you couldn't run around just crazy, just burning up energy. You had to be still, and you had to observe and feel and communicate with the forest. And it was going to teach you. It's going to teach you about where your food is, where the things are that are going to kill you are, you know, where the medicine is, where the water is. And the more observant you are and connected and present, the more information is going to come through you. And that's mindfulness, you know. It's like that's what we want to really, we've got the forest there, we've got the practice, and it's just like combining the two.
Do you have the predators, the killers out there to find out where the things that'll kill you are?
Fortunately, we don't. You know? But we could release a few. That could be entertaining.
That'd be a great Halloween night. How connected are you? For the people that have been there the week, like the 10 days, or on day 10, start to introduce those predators and see if they're aware, like, something's happened. What's that guy with the knife always hanging in the tree?
Yeah. Right, good story. In Thailand, sitting in meditation, and we had, you know, the room, maybe 30 people there, and the snake dropped from the ceiling. And it was interesting, you know, just like how everyone reacted, because the whole room would have been Westerners. So, that, you know, not everyone was Australian. So, you know, keeps you on your toes.
What happened?
Try that. Maybe we could do that at Te Moata.
Okay.
Throw a few snakes.
Just bring in a snake. If you're watching from Department of Conservation, don't watch.
How was your reaction to the snake?
I was far enough away not to. Yeah, I was just watching. It was good. It was good. It was interesting.
Did your mind wander to, I wonder what they're thinking? Ooh, which one would he go for? Which one would I go for? If I was the snake, who would I kill first?
Yeah.
Back to the moment.
Yep. You were definitely in the moment. You weren't thinking about what you were doing later when there's a snake on the floor in front of you.
Don't like snakes.
How are we doing with what do you guys think about how we bring many Maori people to our show, and it's beautiful how we talk about a renaissance, you know, like a moment where Maori culture is coming more to the forefront, you know, as it should be. Are there teachings or things that you guys get from Maori culture that really it's part of you, or even on the practice at Te Moata, or just more like personally?
I think like there's definitely room for us to encompass way more Māori tikanga and like te reo as well there. But I think the principle of like Māori, like their ethos of life, of most all Indigenous, kind of does reiterate Te Moata in the sense of like, you know how they observe and interact the land so well. It's exactly what Paul was saying with meditation as well. And being present and walking around the bush mindfully, like seeing how like a riraria is like fallen on the ground and how it can grow. And it's like resilience. So we had this great guy called Zane come in and talk about that, and he incorporated the pūrākau stories and mindfulness with Kindness Institute, which is teenage kids. And it was so cool just observing like these kids' responses and kind of like bringing those two cultures together of mindfulness, the nature and the pūrākau stories, and like in that storytelling. And the way he did it was just like, wow. It was just penetrating, eh? So like more things like that is kind of where we want to go, eh? Like, well, you know, connecting that nature mindfulness and also with that storytelling and of course Māori.
Now, coming from education, I feel like it would be great to have this come into education for students at the very least, the high school level. And my initial educational brain is thinking this should be a requirement as like a beginning of the year camp for year 12 students, the second to last year of school, so that they have this experience and then basically have 2 years before they're finished, so that they have a moment to find themselves a bit more. But then, again, that must be a nightmare. If we said, hey, we're going to have 90 kids come and see you for 10 days, there's going to be all the EOTC, there's going to be risk assessment forms, you have to feed them, keep them separate during the day and night. I mean, it'd just be a nightmare. But I'm trying to think that societally, being aware of yourself and kids being aware of themselves earlier than I ever got to be, if I ever get there, would just be beneficial all round. Is this a possibility, or do you need more than 344 hectares? Like, what would it take?
Oh, I think a cultural change, and I think that just culture changes. It can change quickly, but it does change slowly. And you know, getting parents through would be a really good, you know.
So how can we do it here locally? Let's say Coromando School, Whangawata. Like, if we could try and make it work, how would it work? Could Te Moata in 5 years be capable of running a 10, 12-day, 15-day retreat with 16, 17-year-old students? I'm trying to put out a goal.
Yeah.
Because again, we want it in education, so someone's going to do it. And if we were the trial out here in the Coromando, run it for 5 years, basically just shove it in the face of everyone else. Look at our kids, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Could we do it in 3 or 4 years?
Anything's possible, but you've got to think that it's you need more of a culture in the background to support that. If they just come for a few weeks, then it might not be, you know, it's not sustainable. You know what I mean?
Okay, I like this. So maybe a 3-day camp here, a 4-day camp next year, get to the full, like you advance to the longer time.
Well, what about with their parents coming as well?
Ooh,
and
parents go first?
The extended whānau. So there's an understanding in the family unit around what this is.
You've
and
just gone
more
from
connection
90
to
to 500 people just then. So 500 people.
Let's just start with, 20 people. I don't know.
We could start with your family.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I've got a just turned 5 and nearly 9-year-old. How would they go for 10 days?
But we've got 5 years.
It's pretty cool to see. It's cool how the little ones are communicating and learning te reo.
Yep.
And it's much more normalized.
So much better than I did.
Nicer. Yeah.
My daughter's 9.
So as you said, Paul,
Amazing.
I believe in that as well. You know, it's a slow change. If you set too many goals like that, it feels like you're putting pressure in the way that I see it. You know, like to cause destruction, it's pretty easy and fast. But like when you want to make something sustainable and long, it takes generations.
But you got to start somewhere with
you got to
the
start.
numbers. Like,
I like to believe that we have started. You know, like from what I see. As a foreigner, as someone who comes to a country that, despite Kiwi saying that it's not, I see it as a great thing for indigenous people here, because in Brazil we have 220 million people and only 0.14 is indigenous people. So there you have a problem. I think here 17% or 20. Like it's something. And then if you have Pakeha, if you have the white people saying, no, yeah, we're gonna try a word at home. We're gonna try a sentence at home. You know, like we're gonna use kia ora instead of hi. We're gonna say whatever. Like you're already doing something, right? In the long term. So yeah, I guess what you guys do, it's part of it, you know, just being connected with nature in a Western society that doesn't even remember what nature is because there's too much concrete around us. You know, that was the main thing that I noticed coming from São Paulo. When I came here, I had to learn how to live in nature because it was weird. And then I realized it's not that it's weird. What I was used to, it's weird, you know?
Yeah, like that shift of it, eh? It's like even right now, what do we operate? Pump, solar, firewood. So it's just like all that lifestyle living, as well as like the retreat is just like one side of that whole identity of that off-grid living off the land, and then like working with all those operations. And you're like, wow, you just totally forget like living on grid, how easy life can be. Or like if a pump breaks, okay, there's no water. It doesn't just come from a tap. Like all those things. It's quite like a real reminder, eh?
Yeah. And for us to have all these things is because a lot of people are lacking of basic things, right? So that's something that I also try to reflect on. If life is so easy for me right now, it's because a lot of people are struggling a lot to have the basics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I ask another nuts and bolts question? Because I haven't done this mindfulness, so I'm not very mindful of offending. But I'd love to know. There must be a financial cost to coming into an experience that has a value that can't really be explained.
Yeah.
But to keep the company going. So if I was wanting to sign up and I don't want any winky wink, sneaky deals, you know, I want the full treatment. If you offer me half price, I'm going to say half. I'm probably going to get half the teaching, or a half size pillow. So if I'm coming in full price by myself, at the next available
retreat,
what does it cost me financially to come in to start that journey?
Okay, so we have a base rate, which is $95 a day. So for like a 7-day retreat, it's like $665. So that's your base. That just covers your accommodation and your food. And then we have a thing called dana, which is a donation. So you will donate. That's a tradition that used to be fully run on dana. But then this culture just didn't support that, and people had to keep topping it up with their own money. So you, on top of that, then you donate anything extra you feel to Te Moata itself, and then to the teacher because the teachers generally, some teachers will have a set rate, but the ones that we hold Te Moata retreats, they basically operate on dana. So the teacher will come like from America or something, and then you basically, they'll be supported purely through what you can afford to pay them. And then the whole retreat center is basically subsidized by donations from the extended community, everyone that's been touched in the past. So it's a very subsidized place. I'd hate to think of how much it would cost if we ran it as a business. It would probably be too exorbitant to allow people to come.
I mean, $100 a night to be in the Coromando, like
yeah, with
that
world class
itself is-
teaching,
Food, learning.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
huge.
amazing.
French chef, beautiful buildings, beautiful river.
It's a lot of butter.
The
Yep.
real thing.
Yeah, he loves his butter.
Damn.
That's cool. That I would say is an investment, right?
Yeah,
it's not
for
a
sure.
cost.
No,
It sounds like an investment.
it's a bargain, to be honest. It is. It's hard. Again, it goes back to the cultural thing. It's like, how much do we value that? We don't really have a value in our society for these things. We will go out and spend, people drop $200-300 on a meal, and it's just like, but some of the comparisons you could have to what you could get out of a 7-day retreat. It would just be, it's a very strange upside down thing. It should be one of the most, for us, it's like, this should be one of the most valued parts of society, because people come and then it spreads out into society. There's a goodness there. There's a connection there to themselves and to nature that leaves the place when they go, goes with them. So, but, it's just the way that it is. Our societies are structured differently.
It's a good answer. I mean, again, it seems like me asking that, I'm going, that doesn't seem too expensive at all. To stay somewhere, at the very least in the Coromando, you're paying more than that.
Yep.
But the ability to be away in the bush again, luckily we live out here in the Coromandel in New Zealand, Aotearoa, it's beautiful. But to be able to just be a couple of hours away, drive back.
Yep.
I'm keen.
Yay.
Can we run the show from there, though? I suppose not. We could run a silent show. It'd be very boring.
Well, the sun would have to be shining to run all this gear, to be honest.
We can do something. We can do something. We can go there. We can take a camera and create some content there. That would be cool.
Yeah,
If you come with me,
I'd be keen.
yeah.
yeah, totally.
Cool.
Oh, you guys are always welcome.
Sounds
Show you around.
Nice.
Yeah,
Give
totally.
me a couple of months and I'll have some afternoons. We'll drive over.
Cool. After your 6-week challenge.
Yeah, I'll be fit. I'll run over. I'll carry you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a cool chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we want to find some information from Te Moata, you can see it on Coromand magazine.
Yeah, for sure.
And where else? We on social media, websites.
To be honest, we're not big on social media.
We're trying to get there. We're
Okay.
trying.
We're none of us are really that interested. So we fail miserably, but
There is a Facebook though.
there is a Facebook, there is an Instagram.
But your website's pretty good. I
The
could
website,
find
yeah,
everything there.
yep. All the information's on the website. Upcoming retreats, all the prices, you can register there, and and communicate with us via email and book stuff, and you can even come up and walk the tracks, and there's cottages we rent in between retreats, so you can come and stay in the bush in a beautiful place. And we even got, like, the original owner built a couple of huts up in the bush, so you have to, one's about a 40-minute walk and one's probably an hour and a half walk. So you go up, stay in this really rustic cabin. It's got everything you need for a couple of nights, and you just stay up on this hill with the magic $1 million views. It's a beautiful place. Yeah, it's pretty cheap. Yeah.
And there's a sangha on Wednesday.
Yep.
For just a silent sit.
A sangha.
Sangha. So a sangha is the community. So the community comes together. So we have an open night when there's not a meditation retreat on. So when we're not working there, and it's just the people on the land living there, the local community comes in, and we sit together on Wednesday nights at 6:00, and we sit for about 3/4 of an hour, and then have a cup of tea, a bit of a yarn, and it's just a little sort of it's a very nice, peaceful get together.
If somebody's talking, does everyone have a silent, meaningful look trying to shut them up?
No, you wouldn't
Just an
talk.
eye roll.
Oh, you wouldn't talk.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Wednesday night?
Yeah,
Is that
Wednesday
right?
night,
Wednesday
6:00.
night?
Yep. And
It's in a beautiful hallway. Like
yeah,
you can
yeah,
still
yeah.
smell the wood.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
And we're looking for assistant managers to help us.
Yep.
So that's our big goal at the moment, is to find a couple that will come and assist us and live on the land with us and help run retreats and help all behind the scenes. So it's very much a lifestyle choice. You will you won't get remunerated like a normal person, but you will live in a magical place and with a fun team, and you'll get to sit on some world-class teachers and get some life-changing experiences. So we're looking for those people. So if anyone out there knows of a couple who are kind of handy and like a bit of meditation and like a bit of nature, then
like a bit of kitchen.
You just narrowed it down.
Yeah.
Handy.
yeah,
I strongly believe that there's a movement
Yeah.
of people nowadays who understand that it's not about the paycheck, like it's not about the money that you get. Like if you're gonna get experience, again, I see it as investment. It's been like a big word for me, like not just financially, but like you investing on yourself. I think you guys had David and Kaya.
yeah,
Yeah,
The
yeah.
position, they came to the show. We had a great chat, and like the amount of knowledge, how much they got from that experience. Like I don't know if there's money who could pay for that. So
Yeah.
I think what you guys are doing is pretty good for the community, for the world.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. There you go, Mr. Roberts. Maybe that's you and Tara, man. That's at the assistant managers.
No.
Of you can't take the kids, can you? Nah.
I'm good.
You
No.
good?
I'm
No
comfortable.
kids.
Sorry. I'm
Kids don't
comfortable.
fit.
Yeah, I'm comfortable in myself. Well, actually, if they're not coming, no. I like them too much. I'll keep them
Keep them.
for now.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure. And We're back on Thursday with Mr. Michael Smither. Yes, that's right. I know, right?
Fancy.
Top New Zealand artist. What a honor. It's gonna be a great show. I'll see you at 7. Peace.